When you think of Pokémon, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's a world of bright colors, epic adventures, and the incredible friendships we build with our Pokémon. But what if I told you that just beneath that cheerful surface, there's a story so dark, so disturbing, it completely flips our idea of what this world is? This isn't a story about some misguided villain trying to reshape the world. It's a story of pure, calculated evil. When we first meet Ghetsis in Unova, he doesn't seem like a monster at all. Far from it. He comes across as a charismatic and wise sage, giving powerful speeches in town squares. He talks about a noble cause, the liberation of all Pokémon. His group, Team Plasma, isn't pitched as a gang of thugs, but as something more like an animal rights organization. They question the very morality of Pokémon battles and using Pokéballs. Ghetsis' words are so convincing that even respected trainers admit he raises some important questions. This is the first layer of his evil, his masterful ability to manipulate. Ghetsis doesn't start with brute force, he starts with words, crafting this compelling story of justice and freedom to hide what he's really after. He builds an entire organization, a cult of personality, by preying on the compassion of his followers. All the while, his real goal is the exact opposite of what he preaches. He doesn't want to free Pokémon. He wants to be the only person in Unova with any Pokémon left, giving him the absolute power to rule as a dictator. The lie is his greatest weapon, and he wields it with surgical precision. But manipulating the masses was just one part of the plan. To really make it work, he needed a king for his movement, a pure-hearted hero who could earn the trust of one of Unova's legendary dragons. And for that job, he wouldn't just find a believer, he would create one. This is where Ghetsis' evil goes beyond your standard villain and into a place of profound personal cruelty. He finds a young orphan boy named N, who has a rare gift. He can understand the hearts of Pokémon. But where anyone else might see a child to be nurtured, Ghetsis sees a tool to be forged. He adopts N, but not out of love. He takes him in to begin one of the most disturbing campaigns of psychological and emotional abuse in the franchise's history. Ghetsis raises N in complete isolation inside Team Plasma's castle. His room might look like a child's playground, filled with toys and games, but this is just another sick layer of the manipulation. It keeps N in a state of perpetual immaturity, making him easier to control. N's only companions are Pokémon, but not just any Pokémon. Ghetsis deliberately surrounds his son with creatures that have been hurt and abused by humans. He carefully curates N's entire reality, feeding him a constant stream of propaganda, designed to convince him that all humans are cruel and Pokémon exist only to be exploited. Think about the sheer, calculated patience of this evil. For years, Ghetsis methodically warps N's mind. He ensures the boy's only experience of the world is one of pain and betrayal, all to mold him into the perfect, tragic king for Team Plasma. A king who genuinely believes in the cause, whose heart is pure enough to awaken a legendary dragon, but whose entire belief system is built on lies and trauma. Ghetsis isn't a bad father. He's an architect of suffering, meticulously designing a childhood of horror for his own gain. He is grooming a victim, not raising a son. And the most chilling part, it works. N becomes the charismatic leader Ghetsis needs, a young man who truly believes he's destined to liberate all Pokémon, even if it breaks his heart. Ghetsis has successfully created his puppet, a tragic hero whose genuine compassion has been twisted into a weapon. For a long time, Ghetsis stays in the shadows, pulling the strings. But in Pokémon, the truth always finds a way out. Usually in the form of a determined young trainer, you. Throughout your journey in Unova, you repeatedly challenge and defeat N. With each loss, N starts to question everything Ghetsis taught him. He sees the bond you have with your Pokémon, a bond of love and trust that completely contradicts the hateful story Ghetsis fed him his entire life. The turning point comes at the Pokémon League, inside N's castle. After you defeat N, Ghetsis' grand plan falls apart. And it's here, in this moment of failure, that the mask of the calm, calculating sage completely shatters. The charismatic leader is gone, replaced by a raging, unhinged tyrant. He storms into the throne room, not to comfort the boy he raised, but to viciously tear him down. He openly admits everything, that the Pokémon liberation movement was a total sham, a lie to disarm every trainer in Unova, so he alone could rule. And then he turns on N. He screams at him, calling him a freak, a warped, defective boy who knows nothing. In that moment, Ghetsis reveals the absolute void where his heart should be. There's no empathy, no remorse, just pure fury that his instrument failed him. He then challenges you himself, not for any grand ideal, but in a fit of narcissistic rage. His Pokémon team is a reflection of his own nature. His signature Pokémon, Hydreigon, tells a dark story. In the sequels, it knows the move Frustration, which gets stronger the more a Pokémon dislikes its trainer. It's also at a lower level than it was in the first game, suggesting neglect. While it's a fan interpretation, the implication is that Ghetsis only cares for power, not the well-being of his Pokémon. This is a huge contrast to a villain like Cyrus, who, for all his nihilism, has a Crobat, a Pokémon that only evolves through a strong bond of friendship. Ghetsis has no bonds. He only has tools. The sheer personal cruelty Ghetsis shows is almost unmatched. Other villains have massive, destructive plans, but Ghetsis' evil is so deeply personal and psychological. It makes you wonder, what truly makes a villain the most evil? Is it the scale of their plan, or the depths of their cruelty? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this deep dive into Pokemon's darker side, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's next. If you thought Ghetsis was at his worst in Pokemon Black and White, you were mistaken. His defeat didn't lead to any kind of reflection. It only festered, turning into a much more volatile and direct kind of evil. When he returns in Black 2 and White 2, he's dropped any pretense of being righteous. The manipulator is gone. In his place is a straight-up demon. His new plan is way more direct and destructive. He enslaves the legendary dragon Kyurem and uses its power to get his revenge on Unova. He doesn't bother with speeches this time. He just freezes an entire city, Opelucid City, endangering countless lives without a second thought. This isn't about subtle manipulation anymore. It's about brute force and terror. But the one act that cements Ghetsis as the most evil villain in the franchise is his direct attempt to harm a child. When you, the player, confront him in the giant chasm, Ghetsis doesn't hesitate. He orders Kyurem to use Glaciate, an ice attack of devastating power, directly on you. Let's be clear about what's happening here. This isn't a Pokemon battle. This is a direct command for a legendary Pokemon to harm a teenager. No other villain in the main series games goes this far. Lysander and Cyrus had genocidal plans for the world, but their evil was on a massive, almost abstract scale. Ghetsis' evil is right there, face to face, and filled with personal hatred. He is trying to harm you. It's only because N flies in on his own legendary dragon to block the attack at the last second that you survive. And even then, Ghetsis doesn't flinch. He reveals this was his plan all along, to use N's love for his dragon to lure it out, so he could forcibly fuse it with Kyurem and create an even stronger monster. He uses his son's heroic act as the final piece in his disgusting puzzle. After you finally defeat him, he suffers a complete mental breakdown. Unable to comprehend his own failure, screaming incoherently as the Shadow Triad drags him away, his lust for power completely consumed him, leaving nothing but an empty, pathetic shell. So, how does Ghetsis really stack up against Pokemon's other big bads? Let's look at the lineup. You've got Giovanni, a mafia boss, driven by profit and power, whose evil is, by comparison, almost ordinary. Then you have Lysander of Team Flare and Cyrus of Team Galactic. Two men with apocalyptic ambitions. They wanted to destroy the world and remake it in their own image. Acts of genocide on a planetary scale. Their evil is measured by its sheer scope. There are even people like Hunter J from the anime, a remorseless poacher who would do anything for a paycheck. But Ghetsis is different. His evil is uniquely horrifying because it's so intimately cruel. Cyrus wanted to erase the universe because he rejected emotion. Ghetsis weaponized emotion. Lysander wanted to create a beautiful world through destruction. Ghetsis wanted to destroy a single person's world from the inside out. His evil isn't just about world domination, it's about the domination of the soul. He didn't just want to control N, he wanted to own his identity, to break him so completely that nothing was left but what Ghetsis put there. The years of psychological torment he inflicted on the boy he adopted, the calculated manipulation of his spirit, these are the acts of a true monster. He combines the large-scale ambition of a tyrant with the intimate, personal cruelty of an abuser. He is a man who embodies narcissism, sadism, and a bottomless thirst for control. He's willing to lie to the world, abuse his son, mistreat Pokémon, and even harm, all to serve his own fragile ego. In the end, while other villains threatened the world, Ghetsis waged a war on the very ideas of love, trust, and family that are supposed to be at the heart of Pokémon. He represents a far more realistic and terrifying kind of evil, one that doesn't always announce itself with grand plans to destroy the universe, but one that festers in the darkness, poisoning minds and breaking spirits. His legacy isn't a crater in the ground, but the deep, invisible scars he left on the person he called his son. Ghetsis' plans failed, but not before he proved that even in the bright, hopeful world of Pokémon, the darkest shadows can be cast by a single, truly evil man. A man so consumed by his own ambition, he would destroy his own son to achieve it. That is why Ghetsis is, and always will be, the most evil villain in Pokémon history. Who do you think is the most irredeemable villain in the franchise? Was it Ghetsis, or does someone else deserve that title? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.